Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find a generous in.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Always the pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Welcome back, and thank you for keeping your appointment here with Double Feature Horror Show, episode 140. I hope you are doing well in this, what will hopefully be an incredibly efficient stream. Did I robot in that, or are we good? You tell me, folks, you tell me.
You're coming through nice and clear, my end.
Oh, sweet. All right, lovely, lovely.
Good on my end.
Little bit of backstage. Oh, excellent. Little bit of backstage fun, guys. A little bit of backstage fun. I hope you're well. I'm seeing, the regulars in the chat. Hello, Ed Wolf. Hello. And John Goris, the man himself, somewhat responsible for our predicament tonight. And Mr. GB joining us nice and early. And Baldwin as well. Good to see you. Good to see you. If you didn't do your homework as you roll in tonight, do not worry. If you're interested from what we describe, you can find this film on Tubi. We are going to get into it later. We are coming back nice and fresh. If you've not seen this for a while, what we've been doing is dipping into the life and times of Vincent Price. That is going to be our topic section. We'll go on that for about 45 minutes or so, hopefully. I always overshoot this, but, I'm forewarning you. And then after that, we're going to get into this week's film, The Lorelei's Grasp, which goes by many a title. Las Garras de Lorelei, When the Screaming Stops, The Swinging Monster. Yeah.
The what? The Swinging Monster?
Oh, did you not hear The Swinging Monster?
No, that sounds like a very different film.
Yeah.
Are there keys in a bowl in that film?
I don't know. I'm getting something even worse. Some kind of like silhouette-based meme. But we'll not. This is a family-friendly stream. We are not going to talk about anyone's monster appendage swinging menacingly. We'd never do that to you. We keep it classy here on Double Feature Horror Show. Not just me holding up the standards in accordance with the Hays Code. I'm, of course, joined by Murgoot.
Good evening, guys, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you are.
We've got the whole gamut here. We've got Mr. GB is waking up nice and early to join us. I know we've got a couple of Americans aboard. Well, actually, gosh, what time is it for you? You must be midday, right?
It's about 1 p.m.
There you go. And it's 8 p.m. for us in what insult should I use for my country? For fellow bongs, you're about 8 p.m. Hey, Devontae, hey, Mima, good to see you aboard. Good to see you. And we're not facing it alone. I was trying to find the right Limp Bizkit lyrics, and I couldn't settle on one in time. So I'll just welcome TCG. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Now move in, move out, hands up, now hands down. It's TCG.
Way.
I couldn't make my mind up which one.
I can't think of that song without thinking of The Undertaker, because he used that for his entrance theme for a little while. It was around about the time. Yeah. Or if you really want to go peak Limp Bizkit, you want look up the WrestleMania 17 promo. And that was between the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. To this day, it remains, in my opinion, at the very least, the greatest promo that WWE have ever put out.
Ooh. And do you have any thoughts about wrestling coming to Netflix?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Ooh.
I cannot wait.
I can't deny I'm curious.
Oh, I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. It's if you're a wrestling fan right now is a very, very good time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah,
You've got the Rock's back. You've got this whole sort of bloodline story going. They're doing away with the whole PG era.
Is it like
they're dropping F bombs
when Degeneration X was
Yeah,
running?
well, they're dropping F bombs. They're dropping F bombs. The Rock, he's back, and he immediately straight away dropping the bombs. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. This whole like furore leading up to WrestleMania because it's the big one this month or at the beginning of April. Yeah, it's all going. I have a friend who's very, very excited. He's a bigger wrestling fan than I am.
I imagine you must have a few friends who are excited about it, right?
Oh,
People
yeah.
are getting into it. Our boy Harry, he's getting into it.
Yeah, it's like The Rock said. He's made wrestling cool again.
Was it ever uncool? Was it?
Yeah, it was. It was sadly when they went PG. Very, very, very. It did get a bit questionable. But yeah, I think AEW springing into life in the last few years has sort of given them a bit of competition. And there's been a bit of change of ownership at the top, thanks to Vince McMahon being a bit of a sussy boy.
Yeah, I caught wind of that. Sounded a bit.
At least
Sting's
retirement was wholesome.
Sting's retirement, and do you know what was amazing about that as well, right? When Raw went out on the air, I think it might have been a couple of days after, or it might have been the day after. They actually acknowledged it, which never happens in the land of WWE. They never acknowledge any rival brands. So the fact it was only in a commentary stage, like at the beginning of like the opening match. But yeah, like Michael Cole, who's one of the announcers, mentioned it and sort of like, well done, Sting, congratulations on an amazing career. Pat McAfee, who's like the color commentator, he was like, that was an amazing match. And then Michael Cole was like, yeah, anyway, back to business.
I've just picked it up from mostly from AA and chatting to you about some of the things about they don't acknowledge the other ones. If someone crosses over, it's like they're refreshed and they've never done
clean.
total tabula rasa.
Yeah. No, there seems to be a bit more acknowledgement now, and I think because you've got like Triple H, who is obviously retired now, he's running the board, he's running things from behind the scenes, and then The Rock's come in. He's one of the directors now on the TKO board, who I believe they bought out. They bought the WWE, so he's sitting on the board of directors there now, and it's a really interesting time. But I'm sure we didn't come here to talk about wrestling.
No, we didn't. Or I mean, we wish Hunter Hearst Helmsley all the best and congratulate him on his success in Blade Trinity. But we'll move back onto things. Okay. Well, folks, I'll keep it very brief. We're trying to be super efficient tonight. Links for my wonderful guests are in the description. I will say, like, if you wish to support the channel, it's super welcome, and you can do so via super chats if you are feeling generous. Also, you can join as a member both here and on Subscribestar, and I will simply say that this is a very good month to join as a member. Setting myself up for some slightly nervous delivery deadlines here, but we'll say no more about that. We will keep on moving. Oh, and a final thing. The Lotus Eaters boys did have me over recently, and I filmed 2 things with them. The first has come out, which was on Dan Tubbs' series Brokenomics, where we discussed the novel The Mandibles. Which
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, you watched it? Did you like it?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that was. I wasn't sure how that would go because my economics knowledge is not on Dan's level. Let's be honest, but
I love dystopian post-apocalyptic stuff, so that was a fun discussion. I'll have to pick up The Mandibles here in a bit.
Yeah, highly recommended. Great novel. I mean, we covered the plot quite a lot, but we held a fair amount back, and a lot of the humor in there we kept back. But just a great book, really good book. And the next bit that should be coming out, I mean, I think I kind of expected it out, but it should be coming out fairly soon. That will be my chat with Harry, who's been on this channel, where we start just fangirling about Stanley Kubrick. And if you want a heck of a lot more Stanley Kubrick stuff covered, where we can go quite in depth, go over, watch that video, support them, say you thoroughly approve of them letting me unleash my special interests on the Lotus Eaters crowd. So yeah. Oh, Mr. GB liked it as well. Good. I'm glad to see. Thank you. All right. So that'll be good. You can get the preview for the Brokenomics conversation for free. And it's about 12 minutes. And then the whole 1 hour 40 discussion you can get either individually or for £5 a month when you sign up as a member. And, you know, it makes our good friends Connor, Harry, Josh and Dan look good. You know, tell them Proper sent you and all that business. All right, I'm delaying too long. I was going to try and do a link from talking about Stanley Kubrick to talking about our other current fascination. We're going to get back into it. We're going to start talking about the life of Vincent Price before we go on with the Lorelei's Grasp. So here we go. Anyone time stamping, your efforts will be very appreciated. We're in part 3 of A Slice of Price. I might move us to the side a bit there. Okay, so we had left off with Vincent getting married. And we're going to have some ups and downs in this one. He had married Edith. She was Edith Barrett Price. And she was a fellow actress, but the other actors in the milieu weren't big fans of her. We sort of set things up to look maybe a tiny bit ominous, I think it, and we'll get into that. We're gonna deal with some highs. We're gonna deal with some lows for Vincent here. So, stay on the highs. I thought I had to kick us off with this. How do you like them breeches?
Hey, I recognise that guy on the left. I think I beat him in a rap battle years back.
Oh, you did indeed. You did indeed. Yes.
That must make me Vincent Price, baby. Get in.
We have a crossover here, a wonderful crossover. Now, they were going to play opposite to each other a couple of times. You know, I forget. For people not immersed in the lore, the deep lore and the in-jokes, that is George Sanders. You probably know him best as the voice of Shere Khan in The Jungle Book. Or from the wonderful All About Eve. But there are a whole host of things. He did an adaptation of the Picture of Dorian Gray that I really want us to look at some point. I don't know who's going to get it, but I kind of want to see if anyone will want to just watch as many adaptations of the Picture of Dorian Gray as possible. I just find that quite interesting. Yes, there we go. So there's George Sanders. Now, that is in the film The House of Seven Gables from 1940. This is the last film under Vincent's contract with the Universal. Because as we remember, back in the day, studio system, it was all contracts, baby, all contracts. And he's getting to play up against him. Now, do I have... Oh, I don't have a clip from that. I just thought it would be interesting to put them together when I saw this interesting chap turn up. Now, they are going to have another interesting crossover in the section, Vincent Price and George Sanders. I made sure we could cover it in the same section, but I thought you'd absolutely love to see George in his breeches. So, that went very well. Now next, look, here we go. It's George and Vincent again. What are they up to? House of Seven Gables. Lovely. Now, I want you to notice from this adaptation of a premium product. In the first one, the original poster, George Sanders is listed first. And our boy Vincent is down in third, right? And now in the DVD release... Oh, he doesn't look happy, does he? In DVD release, Vincent has nabbed the first place. I'm not doing it as like a contest between them or anything. I just thought it's interesting to notice how people's how the stars wax and wane over time, you know?
Yeah, I've just put it in the chat there, but yeah, the noose and Mr. Sanders' name in the middle.
Yeah. Or some maybe
Some dark
yes,
foreshadowing there.
very dark foreshadowing. Yes, Sanders had a bit of a sad end to things, alas. So this was released paired with a horror called Black Friday in releases. It got a good review, saying that Vincent Price has at last hit his stride as one of the screen's most romantic leading men. Oof. Something I love emphasizing here is just like, he will become the horror guy, but the breadth that Vincent did. And I think they've also still given him the fill-in wigs that he had from the sort of earliest days there. I think he will slowly have, they will stop pushing the sort of fill-in wigs on his temples, but I think he still has one there. Right.
Fill-in
He moves.
wig? Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, they felt his hair was going back a bit, so the makeup department would give him a small pair of wigs to sort of bring his hairline forward a bit.
Right, okay. How dare they?
I know, it's shocking, isn't it?
How dare they try and improve on perfection?
You cannot improve.
You cannot.
No. So it goes from that to, I don't know if you'd heard of this one, Vincent Price as Brigham Young.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I'm
still 1940.
See, for my sins, I'm not very familiar with like the old classical films, so this is a good old little eye opener for me. What's that say in the book?
Totally, that's the Book of Mormon. So
Book
this
of Mormon.
This is the story of the important characters of the Mormon Church.
Ah, okay.
Brigham Young was the primary apostle of Joseph Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Brigham Young founded Salt Lake City and the state of Deseret.
Right.
Which is now Utah.
All I can think of now is if only he was still alive today, Matt Stone and Trey Parker could have got him in for a cameo for their show.
Yeah, it's earnest. It's a kind of film they just would not make. They just do not make them like this. It was done very serious, got him some great reviews, and he won many loyal fans in Utah. So this went down really well with Mormon audiences, which I thought was quite sweet. It also sort of, I think it built up his confidence. I'm going to have to find a reference point for us, but I thought we might like to look at a little clip from this if you guys want.
It. Yeah, hell yeah.
Go for it.
All right, let's do it. Oh wait, no, I shared. Is this working?
Don't do a voice. Don't do a voice.
Oh, can you imagine? Right, I need to add. Oh, there we go. That's how I do it. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm absolutely booming. It's 1941. I think we'll be okay with it. I'm just going to let you enjoy some Vincent.
That's right. Prophet ought to act like a prophet. You can't expect to build a church if he acts like a farmhand.
Geezer on the left looked like Mark Fowler from EastEnders.
Oh, there he is.
What a Chad.
Total Chad.
Morning. How do you do, sir? I'm Brigham Young. This is my friend, Heber Kimball. Glad to meet you. We've come a long ways to see you. We want to ask you some questions about your church. Gladly. I'd like to tell you about it. Sit down.
Vincent Price as the prophet.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Penny's just dropped.
What's this about you folks calling yourselves saints?
Well, we believe that any man, dead or alive, who keeps the Ten Commandments is a saint. You don't pretend to be the Lord himself.
They're on location, aren't they?
I'm just a mortal man.
I don't know.
You or your friend here?
Do you reckon location or set? Murgoot, any bets?
What's that?
That looks more like the Sierra Nevadas than Salt Lake.
What is it? Well, I
suppose
California.
Is that a set?
Idea that the land
I don't know.
of Zion will be sort of like a beehive. Like that anthill over there. With everybody doing his share of the work and getting his part of the profits. Please.
Oh, lovely stuff.
Beautiful.
I thought a nice little clip of him. I thought I don't play enough from Vincent's performances. So his confidence was very up in that. And you'd think Vincent has a special contract at this time. He had got the arrangement that he could do 6 months filming, 6 months on the stage, right? And he'd done very well to make that arrangement. But something he hadn't tried yet was turning his hand to doing his own writing. So this is something he ended up doing, writing a play called Poet's Corner. Now, he could only get Poet's Corner made if he were to, he could only get that made if he agreed to star in it. And that was effectively, in the accounting, in the biography that I'm reading, he is doing it as a bit of a fairly easily read parable of his own family life, that he's a sort of, you can identify the characters quite well, but it's also the understandable thing of writing what you know. But kudos to him, he got his own play written. I'll just read a little bit of it here. Local reviewers seemed to respond well to the piece, Poet's Corner, and the papers reported that 2 Broadway producers were negotiating for the rights. Vincent had intended to play Peter in the production, but he felt unsure of his decision. And when his wife Edie pointed out that his stage manner was all wrong for Peter, he took a minor part. Poet's Corner clearly addresses the concerns of Vincent's youth. Lily, stand-in for his mother Marguerite, is scatterbrained and easily upset, and although she loves her son somewhat smotheringly, she always means well. Jim, Vincent Sr., so the stand-in for his father, is an understanding and encouraging father figure who knows how to love his son and yet let him go. It carries on for a bit, just sort of telling you who's the approximation for who's the analogue for who. But I thought that was quite good of him. It's him stretching himself a bit. Now, as his star is rising, he moves. He was already in the Mulholland Drive area. He goes to the next part. He goes to his next house, taking Edie with him. And when he moves, he makes some good friends in Hollywood with Janet Gaynor and her husband, Adrian. Adrian was a costume designer, and like Madonna or A. Marie, he only went by the one names. By the one name. It was what's the phrase? Mononym? Is that the word for it?
I'll take your word for it.
Yes. My book makes a big deal of saying, one thing, everyone expected Adrian, a costume designer, to be gay, and yet, he had a wife and children, and so, okay. I thought, that is interesting. So I looked Adrian up. Absolutely, yes. This book is somewhat inaccurate in its reporting of things. He was a confirmed friend of Dorothy, and he certainly would know that because he did the costumes for Wizard of Oz. Yeah. He also did the costuming for the Philadelphia story, Rope, Shadow of a Doubt. And Vincent will get to know the world of costume designers very, very well. But they are firm friends with Vincent and Edith, help them settle in, excellent stuff. And they are incredibly supportive when Edith learns that she's pregnant in December 1939. Yeah, well done. Vincent managed. I mean, how much have I recounted about his interest in the ladies? Confirmed interest in the ladies, I've got some words from him when he actually has the first child now. I'm just looking for that now. Okay, there we go. Forgive me. So, Vincent returned home in early August to spend the last month of Edie's pregnancy with his wife. He wrote his parents, "It's so wonderful to be back. I have been basking in gratitude and have sorely neglected my other loves. The time approaches and last month is pretty wearing for Edie. She's uncomfortable, but fortunately not too big. The doctor says September 8th sees us proud parents, and we will be glad, 1, to have it over, and 2, to look it over. I can't wait, and at the same time, I feel all lost about it, all bewildered, all excited, and strangely enough defeated. Suddenly to have to pass on what I know, what little I've learned makes me feel I've neglected so much. Perhaps I can catch up, and when it has become sensible, I'll have enough sense to know what to do. Aww. His first child was born August 30th, 1940, at Hollywood's Good Samaritan Hospital. 36-year-old Edith gives birth to the first and only son, Vincent Barrett Price, who they will nickname Barrett or Boo Boo.
Boo Boo.
Jamie Oliver, not the innovator you thought he was, eh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that a name he carried with him all his life then?
It seems to be. He's he looks like a decent chap. He really does. So anyway, there's some nice early photos of him with Edie and Barrett. Now, I think you all remember, hopefully you remember from last time, Edith was 36, but Vincent didn't know that. She had told him she was about 10 years younger. So one of the interesting warning signs. So I say they moved to this comfortable apartment in San Fernando Valley, which is then close to Janet Gaynor and Adrian. They're very close friends now. And in this new place in the valley, they've got a good garden, and Vincent throws himself into it. He becomes a gardener, really reveling in that craft, which I think is kind of just a foreshadow of how basically whenever Vincent applies himself to anything creative, he just thrives into it and he wants to go all in. We're going to see him invest in some quite special projects later.
Mm.
And when he marries Edie, he's happy with the most basic fare that she can cook. She's not a traditional homemaker at all. But he was basically saying he'd be happy with street food. He'd be happy with hot dogs and frankfurters.
God, mate, who wouldn't?
Oh, exactly.
Who wouldn't?
It's just a little weird because it stands out to me because as we get into it, Vincent will uncover the inner gourmet and cooking is going to become a major part of his life. I don't know, had I mentioned his career as like a celebrity chef later?
No.
He had several books.
He did.
Did he?
Yeah.
So I have to say this before we move on to the next pictures, but of the 3 pictures there, 2 of them are giving me major vibes. So ignore the pistol one. That looks like peak Vincent Price. Now, the one on the left where he's smiling, looking at the baby, it's giving me Tom Hardy vibes, right? I would love if Tom Hardy did like a film based on the life of Vincent Price. But then I look at the right-hand one. And it's all about the angles, you see, because on the left, you can kind of see a Tom Hardy there. But then on the right, and this is my opinion, but on the right, I'm getting Blair vibes.
Oh, no.
Like the Dark Lord himself.
The Dark Lord himself, yeah.
Oh, no.
So we need to make sure that we're not seeing so many of those angles and more of the left/bottom one.
Yeah, let's hope. You know, you've got me thinking now, who would be good as Vincent? Like Hardy, I can see it. Tom Hardy would be good.
Yeah, just from that top image alone, like the look he's giving there.
And he can do the voices as well.
Oh,
have you seen him in Legend?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
That was a great little film, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, really good, really good.
Oh, nifty stuff. I'm going to, this might throw the interpretation on its head. I'll show you the next role and you see if you can imagine Tom Hardy doing this.
All right.
What do you reckon to this look?
As I say, it's all about the angles. I can't see Tom Hardy there.
No. Oh, dear.
But I mean, he'd make a great Captain Cook. No, Captain Hook, sorry.
Captain Hook, yes.
Yeah.
Well, here, yes, that is him as Charles II. I might have shared these. I think I didn't have this ready last time because there's so much to do. And I haven't even managed to get as far as I wanted to get. I really wanted us to get to House of Wax, but there's just too much in Vincent's life. So I shared this as a preview last time because I just thought it was so funny. That is him, as I said, as Charles II in Hudson's Bay. And you'll notice it's a move over to a different studio. He's now working with 20th Century Fox. So he's finished his contract with Universal. He's been brought up again. It's all looking good for Vincent. Now that lady on the left, that is Jean Tierney. And I share the photo because I'm a little bit spellbound by her.
It's a very good picture.
I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I was really blown away, and you got such a just clear photo of her. Now, this is the first time he works with Tierney. He worked with her 4 times. We're going to discuss one of them in more depth and then just passing references. But yeah, absolutely stunning. Again, I'm just bringing this up for the broad range that he's being offered. And this is cool for him as an actor, but it's also Vincent does have a sort of problem of not really being able to find himself. Chat appears to be appreciating Jean Tierney. Chat, I've got some good news for you. I have such a recommendation for you when we go further. But if anyone wants to watch Hudson's Bay as well and tell me how she does in it, I'll be interested. Okay, so still doing his acting, but remember the Broadway side of Vincent Price must be satisfied. It has to be satisfied. And how does he do it? Well, fun tale. TCG, do you happen to remember a fun little thing we discussed by the name of rope?
Yes, I do remember. Yes.
Yep. Well, the author of that is one Patrick Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Vincent, being a man of culture, is going around checking things out, and he and Edith go and visit and see a small production of a play from Hamilton called 5 Chelsea Road.
Right.
And he thinks, this is a bit amazing. This is really good stuff. So he goes to see Hamilton and buys the rights to do a Broadway production of it.
Okay.
And again, that's going well, but the idea is, okay, Vincent will give you the funds for that, but you do have to star in it. He said that's okay. So he takes 5 Chelsea Road, not a name I'd heard of, and on Broadway, they run it as Angel Street.
Right, okay.
Again, I haven't heard of it. However, it would later be... Oh, Murgoot, are you ahead of the game on this one?
No, I haven't seen or read it.
Oh,
so.
Okay. You might know it from the next title it gets when it's adapted for film twice.
21 Jump Street.
Finally. Gaslight.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in case... Okay, that might not ring any bells for people. If you're thinking of the term gaslighting, it comes from that film.
That film.
Which comes from this play. I've only seen one adaptation, one of the early ones. Absolutely brilliant. Gaslight is a great film.
See.
And I didn't know it's coming from the same guy who wrote Rope.
My man, Vincent Price. There you go. Don't worry about Patrick Hamilton. Ignore that bit. We'll just accept that Vincent Price invented gaslighting. There we go.
Yeah. He made it famous. I mean, literally, there's a good argument for that.
And if you don't believe me, I will gaslight you into believing me.
Yeah, trust us. You're crazy if you don't think so. Yeah, so, I mean, genuinely, there's a good case that the studios wouldn't have made a film of it if it hadn't been for Vincent, because he made this an absolutely massive success. Now, this was big. They did 1,293 performances on Broadway.
Wow.
This was a record setter for the dramas. Yeah, great stuff. You'll note there, Leo G. Carroll joined. You may remember they'd acted together in the theatre. They were in some of the same troupes together. Carroll was a bit of a regular. but you probably know the name best from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
The opening song, Leo G. Carroll, was over a barrel when Tarantula came from the hills. If anyone remembers that.
I don't. Do you know? I don't remember, but it's a good film.
TCG, you've never gone and seen the old Rocky Horror, have you?
I've seen Rocky Horror. Yeah.
Did you make the effort though? Did you did you get in costume? We need to know.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
I had to.
I've been known to go as the Doctor, and I've also gone as Dr. Frankenfurter.
Nice.
Yeah. Finding size 14 pumps is rather hard, but
when you said it last time, Murgoot, I thought I have to bait it out again. Oh, Mima has corrected me. Wonderful. Tarantula took to the hills. Thank you so much. Thank you. I wasn't sure about it, but there we go. Okay. Right. So anyway, Angel Street, massive success. Now, Edith was meant to join him in this. Maybe unsurprisingly to us, Vincent took the villainous role. I'm starting to see that as a bit of foreshadowing of where things are going to go. But he took the villainous role of the husband who basically convinces his wife that she's insane. Edie was meant to play the wife. Remember, she was a little bit grumpy that she was staying home raising Barrett and Vincent was having to be off on sets, okay? So this was meant to be an opportunity, but she pulled out last minute, basically. And so Judith Evelyn takes a part. And they have their debut on December 5th, 1941. They got really great notices. I've got a little line here from 167. Up, tell you what, I'll skip it over. Let's just, if they ran for 1,293 performances, let's just assume they did well. Now, as I said, that was December 5th, 1941. All going smoothly. Would have made big news, but something else happened very soon after that. And we kind of need Murgoot to be aware of that. Is that setting any bells off, Murgoot? We may have missed him, actually.
Yeah, I think
okay, never mind.
Is it Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
It was Pearl Harbor. Oh my!
Oh my gosh! Nailed it in one.
There you go.
Yes. Vincent was worried about sort of it not getting much attention, but Pearl Harbor happens, and it appears that people wanted a bit of escapism after that. There was a boom in cinema attendance. There was a boom in theatre attendance. Things were a bit grim, and people wanted the mood lightened, which may have helped.
Wow.
That's my very clumsy segue, because we're going to talk about Vincent Price and World War II.
That'd be like, I was to say that would be a bit like screenings of cat, or not screenings, but like attendances of Cats skyrocketing after 9/11.
No.
Oh, Patrick Bateman just said like Zoolander after. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Perfect example. Oh gosh. Yeah, that had such good timing. All right. Yeah. So Vincent Price and World War II. So while he's in the show, yeah, he's doing some work on radio soaps during the day, often uncredited. Just keeping himself busy working on the radio. He's going to do a whole load more radio in the future. The one he's best known for is going to be as the titular saint, Simon Temple, in that series. Many people took the role. I think for TCG and I, we possibly remember the Val Kilmer flop best. Did you even see that? Do you remember that back in the day, TCG?
What film was that?
The Saint.
I never watched it.
I saw the one with Val Kilmer. I watched it eagerly because I grew up watching reruns of Roger Moore as the Saint.
I was going to guess you're a Roger Moore guy, Murgoot.
They played it late night, and I watched it with my father, and it was a rollicking good time. The Simon Templar character kind of presaged James Bond, and it was a lot of fun.
I want to know, Horrorshow, and I'm after Pearl Harbor. Was Vincent Price the one responsible for dropping the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
No.
Oh.
No. The only bombs he's responsible for is Dr. Phoebes Rides Again. There we go. You're welcome, guys.
The abominable Dr. Phoebes Rides Again.
I do have it. I haven't actually watched it, but all right. So he's working on the radio shows. He's going to get famous in radio as well. He's going to get really popular with that, and with his voice, you can understand it. But he also gets picked up for the war effort, starting with Heirs of Liberty. I will prep my reference for this, but yeah, big patriotic thing. They wanted everyone's involvement, and you'll remember he'd got involved last time. There was a big fundraising effort for the why has my brain gone blank? The Spanish Civil War. Now, unfortunately, he did support the wrong side in that, but he was in Hollywood, so you know, you can understand it. You can understand it.
Yeah, we see it nowadays.
Let's see.
Did he support the Republicans or the Nationalists?
I'm afraid he was not a Franco appreciator, alas. But you know that's you know. Ah dear, never mind. You can't be perfect. Listen, if it helps, he is going to get something of a spanking from the government over his lack of Franco respect.
Oh dear.
You're going to feel so bad for Vincent by the time we'll get into it next. Basically, he has a bad time in the 50s. And it's the, you know, I'm going to tell you now.
Kuak raked him over the coals.
How did you guess, Murgoot?
You're foreshadowing.
I am, yeah. Yeah, Vincent, the short version is Vincent had gone over during Weimar and saw Weimar getting cleaned up. And he was a big, you know, he was originally over to study Albrecht Dürer and then came to appreciate another Austrian painter. And then he gets a bit of stick for that. And then back in America, he's supporting a left-wing cause, the anti-Franco forces, doing benefits for them. And then he supports the US cause, but the House Un-American Activities Commission thinks he's been a bit too lefty going after Franco. So he gets in trouble supporting the right. He gets in trouble supporting the left. What's a poor guy to do? It's brutal, isn't it?
We should ask a 20-year-old Britisher. What would he do?
So a little bit about Heirs of Liberty, right? So New York stage actors lent their abilities to... Oh, by the way, oh, sorry, you've taken care of J828's question there.
Indeed.
Oh, man, I'm going to try and rush through this because I said about 45 minutes for Vincent. And we started 10 minutes in or so. All right. So Heirs of Liberty is this patriotic war effort show. New York stage actors lent their abilities to the war effort in a variety of ways, among the most popular being the Stage Door Canteen. Created by American Theatre Wing War Service, the canteen was housed in the basement of an old theatre just off Times Square. A July 1942 article in The American magazine, featured a spread about this hotspot for heroes, a star-spangled stork club where Broadway celebrities entertain and feed 2,000 servicemen every night. 7 nights a week, servicemen for all of the Allied nations could dance with Broadway starlets and chorus girls, see live entertainment, and be served coffee, donuts, and cake and milk by actors such as Catherine Cornell, Lynn Fontaine, Alfred Lunt, Tallulah Bankhead. You may remember her from her pissing in his sink for a laugh. Betty Davis and Vincent Price. So, how do you think the tough fighting men like to be entertained?
Oh, the USO was big.
Very big. Number one thing they want to see: stripteases. Stripteases from their favourite male stars. And Vincent went one further.
Oh wow.
Vincent in drag, baby. Vincent in drag.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
He went up in one audience doing a sort of humorous comedy striptease with a bunch of other actors, and it went down very well. They'd done very elaborate. Do you remember his early days when he was a sort of teenager, fascinated by the what's the word I'm looking for? The French word for a striptease.
Burlesque.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, Murgoot, I'd be lost without you. Burlesque clubs. Well, now he got to do his own burlesque. Yes, this was, I should state, not every performance, but he did a couple of them in drag, just for a laugh. Bless him, doing his part. This is what the fighting men of America want to see. But I have skipped over something interesting. Someone else hanging around the scenes at the time was a young 16-year-old coat attendant by the name of Betty Pershka. Does that ring a bell to anyone? Betty
Not for me.
Pershka?
Not for me, I'm afraid.
I wouldn't be surprised, as so many people in Hollywood do, for a variety of reasons. She changed her name, but you may know her as Lauren Bacall.
Oh, wow.
I know.
I still don't know who that is.
Oh, you absolute zoomer.
Wait, whoa. Wind that back.
This is Harrian levels, I'm afraid.
How is it Harrian levels? Hang on. Right. The difference is I wasn't alive when What's-Her-Face was around, but Harrian was very much alive when Destiny's Child were around. We're not good.
I don't know about this.
I refute that.
All right.
Wow.
By the way, chat, can any of you name the film on the left? Quick check for chat. All right. Okay. Maybe I am also very old, chat, so don't worry. Lauren Bacall, one of Humphrey Bogart's wives, married him with quite an age gap, I believe, but you can see it because the film on the left, she's 19. The photo on the right, I believe she is 17 in that. That's the youngest photo I could get of her. That's sounding really bad now that I say that out loud. I'm trying to place her in the context in which Vincent met her. But she's doing the classic thing. She was hanging around, working as a coat check girl just to get exposure to the industry, make contacts, get seen. People saw her. They were like, she's gorgeous. She's ridiculously intelligent. We need to get her in movies. And so it's very shortly after that she came in. I believe this might be her debut. I could be wrong. But if people didn't get that, that is her into Have and Have Not. Patrick Batman, close. So she wasn't in Casablanca, but To Have and Have Not is basically, it's kind of like a dry run for Casablanca because it's Bogart as well. But she absolutely runs the show. She is better than Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca, but the plot is very similar. Yeah, it does end a bit disappointingly, I'm going to be honest, but Lauren Bacall's performance is amazing. She's 19 in that, and she's just got, you wouldn't know just because she has so much presence. Anyway, big Lauren Bacall simping here.
There's a massive. Do you know what? Right, it's amazing how elegant like the women were back in the day, like with like the photo shoots and stuff. Like they just look so amazing. You know, you contrast it to today's standards, and
the studios were impressive on image at that point in time. Speaking of that, we'll have to get you to watch The Mirror Has Two Faces, Faces with Lauren Bacall, and we'll have to get you to watch Casablanca with Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart. Just so you see the elegance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a real elegance and femininity in it. Whereas, like these days, and I'll only bring her up as a recent example. I suppose I'll bring them both up. You know, you've got your Taylor Swifts and your Sydney Sweeneys. You know.
I thought you were going to say Megan Fox. Okay.
Nah.
Sydney Sweeney.
But
I've seen a couple of things about her recently.
Yeah, I know. But my point is, like, you know, You know, they're both, you know, attractive women, yada yada yada, but they have to be more revealing to express. Like there's something. Well, not that they have to be, but you don't really see them sort of as sort of in this sort of. They're not framed in this sort of way. Do you know what I mean? Like their femininity and is expressed very differently now. It's highly, you know, far more sexualized nowadays. But as a guy looking at these photos, you know, you can really appreciate them for what they are, and you know, there is a beauty there that I think has really been lost in sort of like the modern idea of femininity. I'm yammering.
I'm with you.
She's assault.
You really see there's just such difference. By the way, Catherine, we are tomboy appreciators here. Do not you worry. We are. All right, maybe just me. I might be the only person with a lot of Tegan and Sarah in my playlists, but never mind.
Oh, I love that from John. They're more goddess. Yeah,
that's a good. Yeah. Oh, hang on. So Catherine here saying femininity is seen as weakness and badness. You know, the weird thing, if you watch Lauren in this, she's feminine, so feminine, but she's so strong, and she's absolutely in charge of the situation. It's very feminine, but it's definitely not weak. It's amazing. And you said The Mirror Has Two Faces, Murgoot, was a good one?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that one, but I will take your recommendation. And weirdly, TCG, you won't remember this, but you have seen one film with her in it.
Okay.
And we talked about it on here. But this is 1941. So that film was from, I want to say, 49 years later. And that was Misery, where she played the agent to James Caan.
Oh, wow.
So she was, you know, 49 years older at that point, but she's still got that. She's still got that presence. Sorry, I shouldn't have put her in, but I found the crossover with Lauren Bacall too amazing to not include. I shouldn't have. I knew I'd go into. I knew I'd get distracted. Back to drag. We dragged back to the topic.
Boo! Go back to the other picture.
All right, go on. We'll stay on this. All right. I'll keep her on this because we've got a slight problem, which is there aren't any photos of this because the next bit is about something Vincent didn't do. Now, he's been pitching in for the war effort, doing all these shows. He even took Angel Street on tours to the Army and Navy bases to entertain troops. And there's a big note in there that he'd always stay for hours afterwards talking with them. It's a real humility. He loved to be with his fans. He got so much credit for that. But after that, he was asked to make an even greater contribution to the war effort in March 1944 when they called him up. Do you want to guess which force? What force can you see him in? Think he's a flyboy? Think he's a sort of chap in the trenches? What do you reckon?
Army Air Corps, probably.
We've got a bet on Army Air Corps. What about you, TCG? Do you reckon? Do you see him on the Seven Seas?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I could see him doing anything. If I've seen him in drag, I can see him on the Seven Seas.
I thought the drag might have pushed you both towards the Navy, yeah, which is what he was asked to do. Yes, the joke never gets old, does it? Yes,
he character arc I can approve.
Yes, Vincent was told to report for duty as a Navyman. However, that's a bit of a spanner in the works. Vincent was deep in filming. He was filming 3 things at the time. He had just finished. Well, he'd just got over one film, which do I have it on here? I think I should have it. There you go. He'd done another really successful film for Fox, which I forgot the name of, and we'll get Song of Bernadette. Thank you. 1944. He then takes on The Eve of St. Mark, which is kind of interesting that he's there as a soldier in it. This is one of those, the studios are really putting out the message, America, join, get in, enlist, all that business. The war had become more popular, the American public were a bit more willing to get involved in the war effort after Pearl Harbor, but it still was not largely popular. And so studios were making a heck of a lot of movies encouraging Americans to enlist and take part in the war. Support the war effort. Anyway, so he's filming that, and he's also filming two others. Wilson. Gosh, why can I not remember? It's one of your presidents, Murgoot.
Woodrow Wilson, and it looks like it's the sinking of the Lusitania that kicks things off for the war effort.
Yeah. Do you want a random fact about the Lusitania?
It sank.
Darn it. Do you want another one?
In World War II.
The Lusitania is responsible for Stanley Kubrick being in America.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it brought his grandfather, Hersch Kubrick, over in 1905.
The Lusitania's sinking was responsible for getting the U.S. into World War I, the Great War.
Yes, it was billed as, just a civilian vessel, not partaking in the war effort at all. But as Catherine says, yes, it in fact did have weapons on it and munitions. I'll move on from that. Just an interesting detail, interesting historical detail. So he's filming Wilson. He's also filming Keys Up to the Kingdom, which I don't know too much about, but I think it was part of a long book series that was quite popular. You'll know. Does anything about Vincent stand out to you in this photo of him as Angus Mealy?
He's looking like he ate a few burgers.
Yeah, talk about meals, eh? He
Yeah.
put the meal in Mealy.
Quite literally, yeah, Angus Mealy.
Wee. He was told to chunk up good and proper, and he was in the middle of doing that when he was called to join the Navy. So slight problem. They have to rush all his scenes. The really big stars, they have to wait. I mean, just look how far down the list Vincent Price is on the poster for Wilson. And he was, I like this, Patrick Batman, He's thick. Yeah. Oh, he do be thick. Vincent's junk in the trunk. Who knew? Who knew this is where we'd go this week?
He badonky donk.
Oh Lord, he coming, etc. So they have to rush. All the big stars are put on standby while they just rush to film all of Vincent's scenes, including rushing to rebuild a Chinese village set for Keys of the Kingdom, just so they could get that done. You might notice in Keys of the Kingdom, you've also got one Roddy McDowall, lifelong friend, later to be absolutely wonderful in Fright Night. You know, I didn't actually know this, but did you know that Roddy McDowall was a friend of Dorothy? A musical appreciator. Yes. I didn't know either. Totally passed me by. Yeah. But yeah, a nice little story when I was researching Fright Night that McDowall used to have 2 dinner parties a week, one for his straight friends, one for his gay friends. Different world, very different world back in the day. All right. So as we say, yeah, chaos is caused. Studio's not happy. Vincent, I cannot give you a photo of him dressed as a naval sailor, and I also cannot operate AI to generate it for you. If I could, believe me, I would have been making thirst traps.
You tried, didn't you?
Yes.
What did you put into the command?
I couldn't. You had to sign up for the AIs now. It's terrible. But I will put out an open call. Chat, if you can make me AI generated hot Vincent Price in sailor uniform. I will post it very happily. Topless, okay? Anyway, moving on. Now he didn't get enlisted in the end. It's a bit disputed. He says he was rejected. Thank you, Mr. GB, doing your duty.
He won't disappoint.
Good. He didn't actually get to do his duty that way because he was colorblind, is what he was told. But the biography I have is questioning that a bit more, saying that it's more likely that Fox, the studio, got involved and said, please do not recruit him. Please, we can't have it. You know, you saw that a lot at the time, that the military was being quite fair, and just when your number came up, whether you're an actor or not, you'd be recruited. But there was a more political thing of, it looks really bad if our shining stars are getting murked. Murgy, you probably know a bit more about this. Elvis had to serve some duty in Hawaii, didn't he?
Yeah. Jimmy Stewart was a successful bomber pilot. He got called up. He served very well. John Wayne didn't end up going into the military. He was better for propaganda films. So
but he pressed, didn't he? He pressed to be allowed to enlist.
I believe so. But he was more useful for propaganda films.
Oh, Mr. GB, if you're not too far into it, Catherine's directions are perfect. The stream might be going to a really weird place, but we're all along for the ride. Look, when we get to Lorelei, it's not going to get less weird, okay? Okay, the short of it, Vincent was willing, but whether it was studio meddling or not, he was not put forward. I find it a little weird that he's actually colorblind, given his long-running interest in art, but, you know, what can we do? Apparently, it was a kind of colorblind that meant he could not be in the Navy. I find that daft. So what did he do when he did not go into the Navy in 1944? Well, he went on to make his favorite movie of all time, and the movie that I am going to recommend to you, Laura. This was a troubled production. The original guy, I want to say, was actually the chap. I can't. It's getting blocked for me. Gosh darn it. There we go. Daryl F. Zanuck. Zanuck was meant to be more in charge and active on Laura, but studio machinations didn't work out. And so Otto Preminger was brought on. Preminger had worked with Vincent before, would work with him again, was a very sort of by-the-numbers practical man, and got the job done, even if he was maybe a bit hard to work with for some people. Now, Laura is an absolutely brilliant detective, kind of film noir, kind of. It reminds me massively of the Maltese Falcon. I'm not going to tell you details about it. I want you to see this movie. It is brilliant. From the poster, you probably noticed that our good friend Jean Tierney is back. And she is absolutely amazing in it. I cannot recommend Laura enough. When I saw that this was Vincent's favourite film of his, I had to watch it, and I was not disappointed. Oh, Dr. Prepper. So John Gorris appears to be appreciating it. And Dr. Prepper saying it's the same year as Double Indemnity. Yeah, Double Indemnity, by the way, if you haven't seen it, is also absolutely brilliant. And really helpful for understanding David Lynch films. So yeah, this is just incredible. Now, our good friend, George Sanders, comes up with a bit of a crossover, I did promise. They would remake this in 1955, and Sanders would play the role of the detective. So I just had to bring it in.
Who did it better?
Oh, I mean, Dana Andrews is pretty darn great in this, but I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to slander Mr. Sanders. Mostly Gene Tierney is incredible. Vincent plays this kind of louche. I want to say like a playboy character. He really gets to be charming and whimsical, but slightly untrustworthy. He's absolutely fantastic in this. He really gets to play off his sex appeal, as much as you can in 1944. You know.
Did he do more detectiving / hunting than Sigurd?
Oh, no, he's one of the suspects. Your
okay.
detective is Dana Andrews, but
Right.
yeah, he does a lot more active searching.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Right. So yeah, this is your recommendation, chat. Please, if you only watch one film that isn't a Vincent Price horror, watch Laura. It's utterly incredible. Now he follows that with, hopefully I have St. Thomas Aquinas. My goodness. Sorry, that is an absolute blast from the past. I haven't seen you in ages, man. Good to see you. Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. Shocking. We're talking about this. Britain is not a serious country at the moment. Yeah, they definitely have been hard done by. Good to see you, St. Thomas. Right. So he follows Laura with... Oh, sorry, that's one still from it. I really liked. This is from his next film, Leave Her to Heaven. I think he's working with Tierney again. I've not been very helpful in my notes here. Apologies. But this one, it's the 7th film that he made with Fox, 6 of which were successes. I think he'd basically filled his contract there. What I'm not going to go into detail on that one, just to say Vincent is a man of many talents. But he also has a certain lack of certainty about what he's meant to be doing. So remember, like, he was really torn. Do I stay in the theatre? Do I move into film? What do I do? He was torn over it. And we're seeing a recommendation for Leave Her to Heaven. I have not seen it, but John, I'll bear that in mind. Thank you. So because things are going so well for him in the movie world, he's feeling a bit overbalanced. He's feeling like he's missing out in other areas. And so I wish I had a better photo for it, guys. He opens an art gallery. He has a friend called George Macready. They opened the little art gallery, and it was placed between a bookstore and a chic bar. They gave out free martinis, and because of their connections, it ends up being a really sophisticated crowd. People who are interested in the more modern art, in a wider range of art. We said last time Vincent he had to work in Los Angeles, but he felt culturally it was stifling. We will get into some slightly spicy territory with that next episode, but not in this one. And he was trying to do his bit to build the art scene in Los Angeles. So the little gallery is part of this. Now, they basically made no money whatsoever, but they had a good time. And the crowd they attracted is quite fantastic. So I'm just going to read briefly. Apologies, right. By starting a gallery, Vincent came to know most of the significant members of the small Los Angeles fine arts community, as well as many of the European expatriates. He had met Igor Stravinsky when the composer asked him to do the narration for a production of his ballet, L'Histoire d'un Soldat. Although the ballet was never produced, Vincent remained on good terms with the composer, who often came into the gallery to see the work and to visit. On one fondly remembered occasion, Stravinsky came in and said, "Do you mind if I wait here because some friends of mine are going to join me here? We want to see your show and then we're going to go next door." And in came Thomas Mann, and he introduced me. And then in came Franz Werfel. Well, I knew Franz Werfel because I had done the Song of Bernadette. If you remember, that was what he did just before Keys to the Kingdom and Wilson. And in came Aldous Huxley, and I met him. And then Rachmaninoff came in, and then Schoenberg. And I took one look at them and I thought, my God, this is an all-star cast. So high-end people are coming in. Fantastic to his little gallery. Again, the free martinis probably count. I've got this photo up because that's where the location is today.
I was going to say, it doesn't look like what you were advertising it as before.
Yeah.
It looks like a pizzeria, a gelateria, and cafe for Napoli.
Well, it hasn't changed that much,
Yeah.
Chic. It was the other part of it was a chic bar, back in the day.
Mind you, the story that I'm scripting at the moment, because that took place back in the 30s. One of the places was an old aquarium, and nowadays it's a nightclub.
Oh dear.
But the aesthetic of the building very much like this, because I'm assuming this is on Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has a certain aesthetic, doesn't it? That you can looking at that, you can tell. Yeah, that's Hollywood.
Oh, totally.
Like they haven't really changed the building as such from the external side of it. I guarantee if you were able to find a picture, like it would look remarkably similar.
Oh, I bet it would. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I really wish I had one from back in the day, but it's just one of those things that then no one took a photo of it. But yeah, we'd get the impression of it. I mean, this is going slightly off topic, and I know we're going well past our 45 minutes. I do apologize. Bear in mind, this is the abridged version of this part.
I was going to say, you guys don't know this, but behind the scenes, Horrorshow said this is going to be an efficient stream. Super Nanny will be very happy with us tonight. An hour and 12 minutes into the stream, we haven't even got onto the film topic yet.
God, I've only got 2 slides left. I was just going to say when I looked up Stanley Kubrick's home, it's a vape shop now. His birth home is a vape shop. I know. NGMI, boys. NGMI. I didn't have the heart to put it on Lotus Eaters. Waifu is mocking us for our inefficient. It's not that we're inefficient. It's that Vincent is fascinating. All right, I'm going to move this really quickly. So basically, he doesn't make much money. It shuts It shuts in 1944 after starting in. I think I've called it. I have said it. Starts in 1933. Closes 1944. One thing he does do is buy some pieces from Henry Miller, who needed the money because his books were banned for being a little penisy. Anyway.
A little bit?
Little bit. 1 or 2 bits. I think there may have been a bit of sauciness to them. Anyway.
Oh, gee. Imagine that.
Now, him starting a gallery, it may not go too far, but bear it in mind because this is a foreshadow of a major thing he does next. But we will talk about that next time. Penultimate slide. All right, this is going to be a bit grim, guys. This is going to be the sad times. We're going out on a downer before we hit the Lorelei. So I'll just concentrate the bad news here. As you've probably picked it up, things with Edie had not been going great. She is not the easiest to get on with. She was described as rather weird by some of Vincent's friends, and the marriage was strained. Now, they'd hoped things were going to go well because they had bought in 1933 10 acres of land in Malibu. And they're going to build what they hoped would be their ideal family home there. But they weren't getting on well. They separated because they were just arguing too much. Edie was quite weird, very jealous of Vincent's success. And Vincent also was quite a workaholic. He felt a lot of insecurity about money supply, and he wanted to make sure the work was there so he could support the family. But yeah, it was not happy. It was not happy. They separated, they got back together, they separated again. Vincent's mother, who I've got in the picture on the right there, died suddenly in October 1946. She had made it to her golden wedding anniversary with Vincent Leonard Price, Vincent's father, which is pretty good going, but it was a very bad loss. Vincent took it really, really badly. He drank a little bit more than he would have usually, and that became a bit of a coping mechanism, certainly at this time. In December 1947, Vincent and Edie separate for basically good. They would try and make it work, but they'll divorce the next year. Despite Vincent's best efforts on that one, Edie would not cooperate, and she would become increasingly unreasonable. She also went to a quack doctor who basically got her and her son hooked on benzos, claiming it was a calcium injection, which was yay. Yeah. Good times. I'm told this is still on the downswing. It's going to get worse. So Vincent is basically on his own up towards Christmas. He will get visited by Barrett on Christmas Day, but before that, he's going to lose he's going to lose both his dogs to a car accident.
Oh.
He's putting the booze away a bit. Brutal. To cope, because all of this is hitting him basically at once. Now, how does Vincent tend to cope when things are a bit bad? Not always with booze. He went out feeling that he needed a kind of new lease in life. You know, he's lost his wife. She's raising his kid. He's lost his dogs. He goes out wandering, and he wants something new in his life. And he finds Joe.
Oh.
And that is Joe. He sees Joe. He falls in love with him. And wouldn't you?
He's a good boy.
That is a good boy. Joe had a much longer lifespan, I'm very happy to say. But the next year, in June 1948, he checks in on his father, whose health has been deteriorating. Now, he'd moved out of the family home in St. Louis to go to a sanitarium where he'd have much more care and be looked after. And he did okay there. Vincent managed to see him. He brought his father to sets, and his dad was really proud. Obviously, you might remember from the first episode, Vincent's father had wanted to do his own thing, but had basically, due to the depression and demands, had to sacrifice his own dreams to be a business guy. And the fact that he was able to let Vincent follow his own ambitions was a mark of pride. And it really bonded them together. So he loved seeing Vincent work, loved seeing him act, kept all the reviews, kind of a cliche, but he actually did it. He actually kept a massive folder of all his son's reviews. But Vincent got the call that his dad's health has deteriorated, and he managed to spend the final 2 days with his father, which I think is quite touching. He makes some arrangements for the father to be buried with his mother in St. Louis, or I should say St. Louis. Sends him on his way, but unfortunately Vincent can't attend the funeral. He had to work. Now, did he have to? Was that him sort of burying himself in work to not deal with it? Could go either way. I don't know. But we're sort of ending the 1940s on a bit of a downswing for Vincent. But that's why I wanted to sort of end on the photo of Joe. Because I'm trying to make it a bit happier, guys. All right. I cut that short, and I still could not make this 45 minutes. Gosh darn it. I was going to end on House of Wax. I knew we'd never get there. All right. That is your slice of Price this week. We will now move on to the actual title of this stream, The Lorelei's Grasp. Oh, I am so sorry, folks. I am so sorry. Oh, dear. You know what? We might be far enough in that I can get away sharing this. Let's give this a go. Let's talk The Lorelei's Grasp.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear. I've been yammering. Guys, thank you so much for being patient with me. I'm going to stop yammering for a minute. would one of you wonderful folk like to introduce us to the world of the Lorelei's Grasp?
I'm going to pass it over to Murgoot straight off the bat because I didn't have a bloody clue what was going on. I got it. I got it, but my God, did it get random.
We had some very interesting behind-the-scenes chat on this one.
Yeah.
I was going to pass it to TCG as
cool shotgun, mate.
Devontae's here. He wants to hear your dulcet tones.
All right. Well, tell you what. One of you work out who's going to do the.
I will try and do this very quickly.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. So I don't even know where to begin. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of women at this school, and a weird monster type thing is murdering them one by one. So in response to it, the administrators sorry. No. Let me go back earlier than that. It was just that. No, it wasn't the school. It was the night before or something like that. The wedding. There was a wedding taking place the night before. She was getting all like dolled up. Her husband to be is outside chucking stones, like they used to do back in the day. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. And then
there's something you've forgotten. Like, this is a Spanish horror, and it's very Spanish. It takes 28 seconds until we get some nudity.
Yeah.
28 seconds. I timed it before they hit you up with the older. The classic.
Yes, the man is back. 20-year-old British just censored the nudity. Good man.
No boobs for you.
Yeah, so it must have been like the night before a wedding or something like that. The geezer's chucking stones at the window. Oh, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, beautiful. Love you. And then as she's getting dressed or whatever, this weird like monster crocodile thing bursts in and just rips her to shreds. And then in response to it, they bring in perhaps the world's most useless hunter, Sigurd, who is tasked with hunting down the monster and protecting the girls at this school, whose only lesson, I swear to God, is swimming, because we don't see them do anything else. I
want to set the stage if I can, TCG, because this is one of those things where you really have to see it to get the vibe. I'm not gonna like absolutely rag on this. It was described as charming, and I think it really is genuinely charming, if a bit baffling. And I'll give you this clip just to try and set the stage. Hopefully
you don't
this
have to
works.
send for Searbird. I'll hunt down this beast.
She was very pretty as well.
It's
just
the film. It's all very Austin Powers.
Yeah. It's just like the tonal shifts in this film were incredible. Like, you'd have a murder,
Will we be safe enough for
like
this
being,
one,
oh my
eh?
God, really harsh. I think it was the blind guy who got murdered, and it's all like da da da, and then literally without even batting an eyelid, it's like what what?
It's pretty groovy.
It's like I actually pissed myself laughing. These two old guys walking towards the school. And they look over and they see them all like playing at the pool, and the guy's like, "Oh, I thought the girls were quite skinny." Yeah, it's quite. And then like they go away, they go over and start talking to the teachers and whatnot. And they're like, "Oh yeah, no, have you seen the hunter or something along that? Have you seen Sigurd?" They're like, "Oh yeah, he's down by the lake." Because you wouldn't let him swim in the pool with the girls, and he just pops out of nowhere from behind a tree.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm only doing as you told me to. It's like, what the? And then he like puts his foot up on the fence, leans over, Matt Daddy,
It's
gets
all
wood some
Chad mode.
cigarette, proper chatting it up. Like the geezer was hunting something, but I'm telling you, it was not a lake creature. It was wet,
Those bell bottom.
but it weren't a lake creature.
Dude.
I mean, something people may have picked up from the clip. This is a 1973 Spanish-made horror set in Germany, dubbed in English.
I've just seen the
Badly dubbed in English.
Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. The opening kill, like she's quite clearly dead in the film, and the dubbed voice is still going, oh. Why is Elvis at their picnic? Oh,
with his waifu. What's a male equivalent of the camel toe? What's a phrase for that?
The package, the bulge.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. He's rocking that in basically every scene. But he's pretty Chad, to be honest. I got lots of Bruce Campbell vibes from him.
I mean, I don't know, but
yeah, he was an Italian model and actor, so he's pretty suave.
But I mean, in terms of his character, it was bloody useless. Like he literally finds it's just so weird. It's so weird when he first finds the Lorelei. Like he literally is like, what's your name? And she's like, oh, it's Lorelei. It's like, my dude, you're this is exactly who you're searching for. Like she's acting all weird, like she's sort of in a strange pose. I can't remember what you called it.
What, this?
That's the one. That's the one.
She's showing him the Humber Bridge straight away.
She just walks into what looks like an abandoned building. He's like, oh, do you live here? And she's like, yeah, not really. And then he starts making out with her, like, as like somehow, I can't explain. Like, my brain just cannot fathom it, right? And as he's going to town, right, some dude, like, we've not seen him before, bear in mind, he just walks in. She's a bit passed out. Maybe he rohypnoled her, maybe not. And he's like, no, I'll take her from here. And he's just standing there watching, like, if that was me, I'd be like,
in a medieval costume to boot with thigh-high boots.
Yeah, and then he starts walking towards the lake, and he's like, oh, yeah, just go and get her pearls.
I was going to. I didn't have time. I'd saved the screen cap, but I was going to shoot him carrying her out while Sigurd looks on. I was going to give him the old Nintendo Switch.
This man got Adam 22 big time. Like,
oh, brutal. It's an experience. It's an experience. I mean,
it just made it made no sense. It made no sense. And if that's what's endearing about the film, I'm all for it. I just didn't know what was going to happen. Like scuba diving, he hasn't even got a kit on.
I spared you the clip of that. I was tempted, but yeah. I mean, let's. John, is this the main reason you wanted us to cover this? I seem to remember that you were a big fan of Bloody Pit of Horror and recommended that.
I do feel like you trolled us, John.
It had a similar vibe.
And if you did,
I can't hate this film. I'm very confused by it, but I can't hate it. It was kind of cozy in also a just sort of disturbing way. Like this weird mix of Star Trek, the original series, Austin Powers, and Giallo.
We all said this. Yeah, we all said this separately. Well, I was thinking, I didn't say it, but it wasn't until Horrorshow sort of behind the scenes was like, did you get Star Trek TOS vibes? I was like, yes. Oh my God, yes. Some of the music that was playing was, you could picture it.
Especially that theremin.
That's it, yeah, that. And then after you'd finished watching it, Murgoot then comes back and says, and this was in a separate chat, did anyone get TOS vibes from this? I was like, yes!
Patrick Batman, you absolutely star, coming in. Sigurd, the Chad White Hunter, came for the manpower fantasy, stayed for the German mythology. Yeah, it's... Hey, look, it may have 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. and no critic reviews, but
that high. Wow.
Certain originality. I mean, go on, it's referencing your Wagnerian myth. That's pretty great.
It's just like randomly, yeah, we'll meet in Valhalla.
Yeah, that was nifty. I know it's look, the beauty of this, we do like to cover the unusual stuff. We do like to stray off the path here. I mean, I feel a certain pride that we have never covered like The Exorcist. We've never covered Halloween. We go a little obscure sometimes. This, I feel, is us going very, very obscure. I would never have come across this without John's recommendation, and I feel it's good to take a chance. I had got a reference to the director before. So in Kim Newman's I never remember it. Nightmare Movies. I hate the title. I always forget it. Kim Newman's Nightmare Movies starts off talking about zombies. And you're like, oh yeah, Night of the Living Dead. I know this is good stuff. And he spends a load of time talking about this Spanish craze of zombie movies. I was thinking, hang on, what? I'd never heard of this. But yeah, it was a decent Spanish horror industry, sort of running around the same time, even outlasting the Italian giallo scene. It managed to innovate a bit, and the director of this, Amando de Ossario, was part of that. He had a hit in 1971 with The Blind Dead, and had then been able to make 4 films on that line. And when that stopped working after a while, he said, okay, I'll try this as well. He was good at throwing the films together very quickly. I think and already a good discussion that you've put in the chat there, TCG. Yeah, not technically a giallo, was not made in Italy. Doesn't seem to have had the same odd practices in production. Like, I think pretty much everyone working in this is Spanish. So would have been all speaking in Spanish, whereas one of the weird things about giallo is they would cast people from kind of everywhere, and they would deliver their lines in the language they were comfortable with, and then redub everything afterwards, which always makes it have this kind of weird hypnotic vibe. But that was definitely here as well because of the dubbing.
I've got to read Wholesome Chicken Wrangler's comments here.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. It's revealed that the mysterious woman stalking Sigurd is the Lorelei. However, Sigurd has fallen under Lorelei's spell and refuses to believe that she's responsible for the murders. One paragraph later, Sigurd, who has now come to believe that Lorelei is somehow responsible for the killings, later discovers an underwater cave while diving.
It's pretty much it. I mean, she tells him basically, I done it.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, there's something else on his mind.
Well, there was only ever really one thing on his mind.
She meets him like this.
Yeah.
It's about 30 seconds before they're macking.
It's like... I mean, how do you say my eyes are here? I mean, she's not even looking at him.
It's... God, I mean, the odd thing about that scene is, like, obviously she's absolutely stunning, but they choose to play the scene of him making out with her with no music, and it suddenly becomes really uncomfortable until the big medieval guy comes to take her away.
like, what were your thoughts when that happened? I was just like, what am I watching?
I was uncomfortable and confused. Do you know that?
Imagine being in that position and like just some random. I mean, again, I'll refer back to. I mean, Adam 22 probably wouldn't have a problem with it, but I mean, some geezer just walked in like, I'll take it from here. Bro. What the
he just stands on the stairs watching Sigurd macking on her, and then I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
How long was he waiting?
Yeah. No, my favorite.
Sigurd was playing the role of Fluffer in that moment.
There are many questions about
Those
this.
who
Many
don't know.
questions. Oh dear.
Oh my god, it's just so like that scientist as well. The scientist who was like developing
What, Colonel Sandero?
Those
I
hair
love that.
pieces. Bad hair pieces.
But can someone explain to me why he had a bloody sheep in his lab?
Or a radioactive knife. He's radioactive.
And then but here's the thing: when they find him, there's even more sheep and a bird flies out.
You got a
There's
big
a
dog
German
in as
Shepherd
well, you know.
Where? The way he dies as well is just ridiculous as well, like whipped to death. There are dominatrixes who have watched this film who are like, "That's just disappointing." Disappointed in your stamina, your pain threshold, Professor.
Yeah, he's God, I think that scene will be responsible for a lasting impression on quite a few people if you see it early enough in your formative years. His death was kind of creative though.
It was. Again, I have questions though, just like how the what was the old like the geezer's name who was sort of the guard for the Lorelei?
I want to say Alaric or Alberec. Let me
Alberec,
see if I
that's the
can
one.
confirm it.
Yeah, it's just like it's almost like again, like the professor's door's unlocked and he's sort of like, "Hello there, I'm Alberec, and I'm here to ask why the do you want to kill my bird?"
Gosh, I can't find it. I can't find the name.
It's Albert.
I think yeah.
Oh, it
Alberic,
is
yeah,
Alberic.
you are right.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much.
It's just sort of like, "Oh, hello there. I'd just like to have a conversation with you about why you're trying to develop a method to kill the Lorelei." And he's like, "Well, I'm not doing anything."
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
I forgot he tries to worm out of it. It's
Batman. Patrick Batman's absolutely right. He does die like a bee.
yeah. It's the there's something about the thing of it's his own scientific equipment that takes him out. He ends up pouring acid on his own face, and it's a nasty effect. I'm not going to risk it on here, but there is the gore in it is quite impressive.
I will compliment it for that.
Yeah.
I will compliment it. When they did that close-ups of the Lorelei like tearing into the flesh and like ripping out organs and stuff. That was pretty effective. And even the blood, like I know, like sometimes the blood is comically bright red in these types of films, especially at that time with and I remember you saying like how it looks like that. But I didn't think it was too bad. It looked semi-convincing.
Yeah, I mean, just it was still redder than we expect, but not as outrageous as in the 60s. But I also thought just the use of the putty to make deep cuts kind of stuck with me. It's one of those things I just noted. That's impressive gore. It sort of had that vibe of like a Lucio Fulci zombie movie.
Yeah.
But like nice design. There's something that really impressed me at the start, actually. Even I was just sort of acclimatizing myself to the dubbing. And it was the way the Lorelei jumps in through the window to claim the first victim, the bride to be on her wedding night. And it was quite like, how can I say, vigorous, quite vital. Like in contrast to a lot of the Italian stuff, which starts slow, this had a real pace to it, a real sort of dynamism that made me think, oh, that's quite nice. Yeah. There is also something. Look, how can I say?
Sorry, just before you continue, John. What scuba gear? all he had was the tank. He had nothing else apart from a pair of underpants. I swear.
So
the old 60s style, 60s, 70s style tourist rig. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was I was cackling.
I felt like it was a preview for one of the other member request streams that we've got coming up, but to drop no spoilers on that one. John, who requested this, said, "I like how the professor gets punished for trying to disenchant the world." That was part of it. John's looked for something a bit under the surface on this one, and I wanted to venture that there's a bit of a classic horror theme going on in Grasp of the Lorelei. This would be the kind of line that, well, this is exactly the kind of line that E. Michael Jones takes, where a lot of the horror we have is a horror about changes in our world being expressed symbolically. And E. Michael Jones is extremely focused on sexual liberalization. And you might be wondering, okay, where the heck are you going with this one? I was thinking, the start is a bride getting ready to get married, and the husband just can't wait to see her, comes along, breaks a tradition, sees her before he should, and the monster can't help itself. As soon as he goes, the monster gets in there. And I was seeing it kind of like the Lorelei is your classic vampire style unrestrained sexual impulse. It's like the danger of, I guess, sexual liberalism and lust playing havoc. All these girls are the target of that, and it needs to be restrained for all the damage it does to them.
I can agree with that. However, he does, or she does, murk a blind geezer, a blind vagrant.
But how did he go blind, TCG? You know what causes that? You know what causes it?
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, he's a fiddler, all right. And not on the roof.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Great.
And the fact that he's not counting money. Well, he's counting money, but it's not Deutschmarks. It's gold coins. Where is he getting gold coins from?
Mysteries upon mysteries.
Rubs hands enthusiastically.
There's something in that. I think there really is. It's your 70s liberalization. There's like this is classic horror. This is Friday the 13th too. This is Halloween. It's the worry. Okay, our kids, it's all a bit liberalizing. They're all a bit free. They might be getting up to stuff. That's the source of the danger. And therefore, your monster is there, almost representing our worry about that. And therefore, that's why typically it's always the virgin who beats the monster. It's like the sexually voracious must still be punished, but your virgin will be the final girl who restores order. This is the E. Michael Jones reading.
Yeah.
Classic horror. It's our subconscious being satisfied here. I'm trying to bring it up a level because mostly I was thinking Star Trek, the original series, when I was watching it.
All the production values and the cheaper sets. Yeah. And the bold primary colors.
I thought I recognized her. I was wondering if some of the actresses got reused, because there's a lot of them that are just kind of like background girls in the school, which, by the way, is very Dawson's casting. Like, I think they're meant to be sort of 18-year-old or something, but they appear to be mostly in their 20s. Which makes it easier given how openly flirtatious they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, this goes into some weird places. I originally pulled this still up, by the way, just when you were talking about the red of the blood. And I thought I'd sort of highlight how it comes out in the processing. This has that kind of, not technicolor, but something approaching that vibrancy to it that makes the film quite charming.
The vibrant late 60s, early 70s primary colors, the bright set pieces.
Yeah, when they want to do that, they get it wonderfully. Some of it came off a bit bland, like this in the German beer hall. Just that's quite underplayed and grey. Whereas elsewhere, with the right lighting, it's incredibly vibrant.
Yeah. And Elke, the headmistress, the AOC clone.
Oh, yes.
Wait. Oh, you said that. Beyond the Saints.
Yeah.
She does look a bit AOC-like, doesn't she? I think
Oh,
I've got
yeah.
a nicer close-up of her. There we
Go
go.
on then.
What do you reckon?
To a point, but yeah.
It's
That
all
was
about the
my
angles.
first thought when she showed up at the beer hall.
Right.
She is impossibly beautiful.
It is quite
Amazing.
ridiculous.
The number of beautiful women in this is incredible. They're of the kind of beauty that, you know, they go to bed in full makeup. They take their bath in full makeup.
But again, like she sort of exemplified the kind of like that elegance and beauty and femininity that I was talking about earlier from like the early. You know, obviously, I know that they went overboard with the old bikinis and breastises, but she didn't sort of, you know, her character wasn't portrayed in that way, which made it intriguing because obviously Sigurd was, I mean, in terms of the in terms of what he was chasing, you know, there were two very sort of like polar opposites. I mean, you had her who was sort of like almost like shy and conservative, and then you had the other one who was like, you know, who couldn't even do a face-to-face introduction, shall we say?
She showed him Ed Dutton's area of interest.
Exactly.
That scene was a lot. Yeah, she's restrained, but she also, you know, she feels a temptation towards Sigurd, and you know that's when she starts to get attacked by the monster. You know, E. Michael Jones would be all over this.
Okay.
You know, she's giving in to the temptation. That's why she gets to be the target. Even after she shuts down the two thoughts in the bath.
Oh, that bath scene as well. My God.
For people who haven't done the homework, and I don't know if we're selling it the best that we could, would you care to describe the bath scene?
Yeah, sure.
Flirtatiously sapphic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bit.
I do love the contrast of the it's like what you know, one girl is washing the other, and all of a sudden the monster bursts in, starts attacking them, and then at the end, like they survive the attack because the monster's scared away by I think Sigurd and some of the other girls, and it ends with them like I kind of like the contrast of that bath scene. As well as other reasons. But yeah, it was just ridiculous. Like, who acts like that?
It did seem like a weird fantasy. So yes, if people aren't following it in this girls' school that Sigurd is protecting, two of the girls who are absolutely after him meet up. One sneaks into the other's room when they're meant to be locked in. Her friend's having a bath, and they have just a great giggle, bathing each other, and one of them's dipping her hands below the water. I don't know why, but
oh, geez, I wonder why. I tell you what, I mean, the servicing to a certain demographic, I mean, was off the charts for this film. I like it. I liked it as well. It's just another funny bit. Like I think was it the first night that Sigurd was watching over the school, and he's just standing there looking looking up at the building, and all of a sudden, like one by one, the lights start coming on, and then they open the windows, and it's just the girls there, you know, half dressed, like hello there, you know,
primping and preening and showing off their figures.
It was almost like looking at the red light district.
Oh, just a bit. God. It was special.
And then he's just standing there like, of course you can't see my face, but he's standing there like, with this shit-eating grin, like, oh god, I know what I'm going to be doing.
Oh, you do wonder, but then he meets the Lorelei, and then he's all after her. Totally takes over his brain.
Is he?
Well, I suppose he does still go after the head teacher as well.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. It was really confusing because he's like, "I love you," but he's also chasing after this girl, and it just wasn't consistent.
We should remember the Lorelei is a siren,
Of
so
course.
the ability
course.
to seduce is there. So maybe his rational brain was after the head teacher, but it's the other brain that is going for the siren.
No, of course, but what I'm saying is it should have been from that moment that he should have just been obsessed with her and only her, because the siren spell.
Mm.
But I don't know, man. Maybe the guy's testosterone was just too much for even the Lorelei to overpower, because he was like, must simp for head teacher.
Well, he is Italian, so
yeah.
Wait, I thought it was Spanish. Anyway, I just got to say, British Knight, hello, friend. Good to see you, man. Dropping £5. Good to see you, man. £5 and saying, evening, all, just poking my head in it as I am to do once in a while. Hope you all have an excellent stream the rest of your evening. Well, thank you, and you too, mate. I hope you're well.
You too,
I hope all is going well with you. We talked about Vincent Price for an extended amount of time, and now we're covering a somewhat obscure Spanish horror that I would say is maybe not. Look, this came out the same year as The Exorcist. It is a very different film in tone to The Exorcist, but in a way, I'm going to pitch it. It's kind of cozy. It's a little bit cozy. What do you reckon? Thank you again, BK. Much appreciated. Yeah, I just found it cozy.
There's another thing as well. Again, I'm going to go back to when what's his face, Alberic picked her up and took her away. As he's walking towards the lake, he turns around. He's like, "Oh, pick up her pearl necklace," and it sinks into the sand, really weirdly, I might add. And it's not mentioned ever again in the film.
I didn't know if that was doing a certain thing, if that was linked to the legend. I mean, Sigurd is a name in the legend, so that's that idea that they're fated. The film will explain none of this to you in the dub, of course. But
yeah, of course, yeah. But when that was taken away, I kind of thought, okay, that must bear some sort of significance. Not mentioned again.
He does find it hanging out of the treasure chest when he gets into the grotto.
It found its way back to her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
but he's got the love of the head teacher. He's got the love of the Lorelei. Obviously, the siren call working on him. But that is, of course, a conflict of interests, as maybe expressed by this scene.
I don't understand.
I tell you, you must forget this beast.
It's impossible.
You don't want to.
I'm sorry.
Go away.
Wait.
It's very late.
When will we meet again?
When the time is right, I will have you summoned. Then never again will you be separated from me.
It's just so weird.
I love this. She gambles. It's the jump. It's the jump. That's what I love most.
What? Oh my days.
It's very cozy. It's very special. It's also just very confusing. I mean, I really thought that scene when he meets her for the first time, and because she's a siren, he's instantly seduced. I don't get why they killed all the music and a scene that, I don't know, had some erotic potential. It just became very uncomfortable.
It's just so weird. Like, why is she running off like that? Well, why is she like, nah, I don't want to do it tonight. Don. I've got a headache. All right. When can I see you again? I'll let you know when. I'll let you know. And he's just like, there's no There's no expression on his face.
That's because all the expression on the face belongs to Alaric. Look at him.
Oh my god! Wow.
Oh, he's perfect. This guy's got such a meme face. I love it. Quality meme face.
Like every muscle in his face, both Alberic and Sigurd were fighting to just keep the eye levels up, keep the eyes up.
He's trying not to laugh.
Scotty in engineering, deflecting all power towards the face muscles and the eye muscles. I can't do it, Captain. She hasn't got enough purr. The eyes are gonna look done. They're gonna look at the boobs.
This is the other one, yeah. The townspeople freaking out, and the torches and pitchforks.
Yes,
and then the next time you see the townsmen, they all have guns. What the hell is with the torches?
Well, I think I can explain this one. You see, because they went out to the lake with their pitchforks and torches, and realised very quickly that torches don't work that well underwater. So they went, sorry, let's go back, get the guns.
None of them are prepared to do this hunting. Something that I say this because there was a really interesting quality to this film that was how sort of anachronistic it was. So, John talked about one of the problems is a professor is trying to disenchant the world, but it had this vibe that there were lots of what felt like mythic fairy tale elements in it. Like they have a blind fiddler in the village. They have a legendary hunter. They have a mob with pitchforks and torches.
Well, they reference the Ring of the Nibelung. They reference Thor and Wotan. They reference everything to do with the Guardian of the Ring, and they tried to tie it in with that, and it became a muddle.
They referenced it, but the lack of explaining was impressive. I mean, I think it's really cool that they've gone for a very novel source in this. I mean, how many times have I said, I want more Wendigo movies? We don't have anywhere near enough Wendigo movies. This really interesting thing, I can think of precisely 2 other films that have a siren in them. And one of them's an extended remake of the other. That being Siren, expanding a section from the otherwise pretty awful anthology VHS. I'm not going to inflict that on us, guys. I've seen it 3 times. I did not like that at all. But I liked the Siren segment. Oh, John Goris naming Splash. I have not seen that.
Daryl Hannah.
Tom
Hanks. It's a comedy. And
I think there's also are all mermaid sirens?
Supposedly.
Yeah, I think the old law would have them.
Oh, in that
because they would, because they would seduce the sailors, wouldn't they?
In that case, there is also one film with pop star JoJo, if you remember her. Get Out right now. It's interviewing me. That one. I'm really dating
also the reversal of the male fishman, Guillermo del Toro's movie, the
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. Oh,
deeply subversive.
I can't say what I want to because it's a family stream. The Fish Lover movie.
Oh no!
Excuse me.
Oh dear. I don't. Devontae's gone 2004. Is Devontae a JoJo appreciator? No, I think that was earlier. No, it is. It is JoJo. It's an absolute tune, isn't it? It's great. Anyway, Yeah, she was in a movie. She was in a movie. I think she was one of the mermaids. There's some absolutely random trivia for you. Yeah, so there's just this interesting element where you have the mythic, because the source is mythic. The town just starts sort of embodying the mythics, even though it seems really weird for these guys in their 70s clothes to get the pitchforks going, you know?
That was my thought. It's what the heck? That's totally random.
Mm.
But yeah, and then it goes on from there, and Sigurd goes out on the boat with the ex-fiance and somebody else, the mayor, I believe.
I thought the head teacher came along as well. Is that right? Or is this when he scuba dives?
This is when he scuba dives. Right? I think I missed it. I clearly missed the reason as to why he was going underwater.
Because he figured out that he'd heard the legend enough that there was supposedly treasure underwater, and he'd seen the Lorelei taken underwater by Albrecht.
Yeah. He didn't take any of the treasure up, though, with him, did he?
No, but
yeah.
Albrecht took the Lorelei underwater, so they figured out, let's go try and find it.
Of course. So I still question why he felt the need to go underwater, because the plan was to blow up the cave.
Oh, blowing up the cave with where is it?
With the dynamite. I'm sorry. This is another thing as well. Like, just look where it landed. Right, it's nowhere near. It's nowhere near the lair. Right, and the amount of damage it done. It'd be like Rick Waller jumping into a swimming pool.
Oh, that's why I was laughing about the time bomb.
Yeah.
It's so retarded.
It is. And the thing is, the Lorelei weren't even in the lair. She was up on the shore. It's like, what the fuck? You didn't need to go down
was
there.
Somewhat lackluster.
Well, we didn't explain the cat fight.
All right, well, Murgoot, you raised it. It's up to you to talk about the remaining sirens.
Yeah, we'll get to the cat fight in just a second. But I mean, it would make sense if he went down to the lair with the dynamite, planted it in the lair, and then was like, okay, because he says to them like, oh, if I'm not back in 15 minutes or whatever, just go. So there is there's pressure. There's a time element. So it would make sense for them for him to go under, and because he's got to get into the place, maximum damage, maximum effect. But no, he goes there without it. He comes up eventually after he escapes, and don't worry, Murgoot, I'll let you talk about that scene. He hops in the boat, and then they just chuck a bloody bomb in there, just randomly into the water.
Classic.
Make it make sense.
Well, he dives underwater. He goes into the grotto. And these three pasty, as somebody said, jaundiced sirens in monokinis with straps are staring at him. And Albrecht says, "Get your clothes on," hands him like a Renaissance shirt, pants, and a bright red cloak, and escorts him into the broken down throne room, and there's piles of treasure everywhere. And they start talking about Wotan and guarding the ring and guarding her father's treasures. And then she hypnotizes him with that god-awful purple crystal.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. And then she strings him up in irons, hand and foot.
Oh, you're doing it down, Murgoot. Come on, that was a battle. That was a battle. She wanted to hypnotize him and control him, and he's like, "No, you've
He
taken
fought it.
innocent lives."
He fought it and eventually lost. And
She makes a good point, though, doesn't she? She's like, "Would you?" What's it? She says, "Would you condemn the lion or something?" She's basically pointing out that, animals eat what they have to eat. They aren't evil. She has to eat hearts. What's the problem? She makes a solid case.
well, she
Badly
also
dubbed,
said,
but a
"You'll
solid
stay
case.
with me forever, and you'll have me forever." And Albert just looks at her as long as he lasts, and he'll last forever. And then he refuses her, and he gets knocked out. He gets chained, and the three lesser sirens are giggling. And as long as he lasts, and it shows all the other people that the Lorelei had picked up, and their rotting skeletons hanging from the wall. That was just classic.
It was kind of a nice touch, I like that.
And then they start catfighting, and it allows him, grabs the keys from one of them and unlocks himself and escapes to get up to the boat. He spends the time undressing before putting on the tanks and goes up and then throws that god-awful time bomb.
Yeah, but that cat fight, though, again, massive fan service. I mean,
yeah.
If you're a guy who just wants to see boobs, right, then this is the film for you. Because you're getting half-naked ladies, wrestling around in some underwater lair, or you have a bunch of women frolicking at a swimming pool, or you have a couple of women who are poorly acted lesbians having a good jolly old laugh in a bath. Essentially, this film has two elements. It has women and water. So if you like those two things, this is the film for you. But yeah, that cat fight scene, it's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's just so unexpected as well, because they're like, I mean, for a start, I can't even really sort of get my head around why they just all of a sudden were like, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to save this guy for absolutely no reason for whatsoever, other than, Lorelei's going to be well annoyed. Oh, I can't wait to see a look on her face. Oh, it's a proper prank, innit?
We're going to let him go and seduce him, and
yeah,
me first. Me first.
Yeah. Oh, this was your idea, wasn't it? The free. Yeah, it's like,
they're weak. They've given over to the passions. That's a problem. It's a warning. Told you, there's a deeper message. It's a warning about being taken over by the passions. Maybe.
I mean, yeah, and it's obviously you could tell not much choreography went into that scene.
Yeah, I did get the feeling it was like, and you girls here, you do the thing now.
You do the rolling around.
Roll around, pull the hair.
Yellow.
If you tickle her leg while you roll around, it would be great. It would be fine. Cinema masterpiece.
These things are, thrown together quickly. I mean,
yeah.
Again, I wasn't sure. Looking at it, it just seems like he was getting out more than one film a year quite quickly. I think he'd got 2 or 3 of the Blind Dead films out, and then he got this out in 1973. So there's a certain Ed Wood quality to all of these. He's getting them out quickly. There's production.
There is a level. Yeah, I would say there is a level of efficiency in that regard.
Yeah. And then once that's blown up, he comes out, night falls, and...
Oh, we didn't show her in the throne. I thought she looked pretty cool in the throne. Like, there's something kind of nice about the fact that she's got this... I hope my cursor is showing. The fisherman's net.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's part of her outfit, but the idea that she's underwater... and she's wearing something with a net. There's certain irony there. She's the one who snares. I like that.
I won't lie, Horrorshow. See, this is the difference between men and women, I think. I didn't notice the net.
I mean, Again, do I have to mention my own sort of Tegan and Sarah proclivities here?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, it's true.
I found this a distracting film in many a way. Don't get me wrong, but I've got to bring the analysis. You know,
Well,
I
if
can't
you're
just say
into
it's a comedy
fishnets,
show.
It's a good thing.
I mean, what's the Robert E. Howard? I kind of get Robert E. Howard vibes from this sort of a Conan aesthetic. This is kind of epic. It looks really good, you know.
It's all right.
The evil sorceress, the evil siren. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, there's something tragic as well and interesting about the fact that she's clearly, because of all the guys chained up who are now rotted skeletons, she's gone through this a few times. You know, she's beaten down weak simps many a time. They failed to fulfill her. But the fact
the other
that
question I have is why didn't they take his radioactive dagger away from him? Why'd they let him keep it?
I mean,
because women left to themselves form a chaotic, disordered mob and can't help but play power games.
I tell you what, this film kind of, in a way, debunks red pill YouTubers. Not red pills. Not red pill. What are they? The sort of like, the manosphere. The manosphere.
Okay.
Because they tell me that a woman who has had as many bodies as she has have difficulty pair bonding with men. She doesn't seem to have a problem with the pair bonding side.
All she wants.
She's all about the till death do us part.
And it's Sigurd, the ultimate hunter, the Chad, who is able to defeat her. And because of that, she respects him. That's why she says, I'll be waiting for you in Valhalla.
Mm-hmm. You'll be like, oh, God.
Yeah, I like that.
She's like, yeah, she rides off on a horse.
That's pretty epic.
They did. They ran that bit in
ghost
negative.
Horse.
We
be together in Valhalla.
You don't get too much shot of her actually in Lorelei form.
No. What about the transformation?
If you want. They gave you a bit of a preview of that, didn't they? With
they
this,
do.
I mean, again, 1973, low budget. I don't know. I don't think it looks that bad.
It don't. It's giving me the ick though.
A little bit of an ick. They do a technology at the time. I thought they did an okay fade from one hand to the other. Yeah, think of how TCG. Did you watch the old Doctor Who back in the day?
Not really, no. But I get it though.
They did that kind of effect in Star Trek: The Original Series too.
They did as well. Yeah, for sort of what's the word? Transfiguration from one. You know, suddenly like you need to change how the actor looks. They would have to do those fades
type things.
Yeah, it's tricky. I thought they did all right. You know, maybe a little behind the times, but again, lower budget, working in Spain. Kudos to them, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not actually that bothered about the quality because I appreciate it. I appreciate that it was a low budget film. Like I wouldn't be expecting sort of like Hollywood, like AAA film title sort of budget effects on this, or or even like The Thing. You know, The Thing was great in terms of as a great example of sort of like physical visual effects. But yeah, I wouldn't have expected anything like that from a giallo or any sort of offshoot kind of genre. I thought with if anything, as I was watching this, as I say, I mean the story, I mean I cannot fathom. But the things that they did all right for what they had available were the effects. I think like the blood, the gore, and I kind of appreciate the transformation effect. I mean, I was like, kind of like that.
The slashing through the chest the latex chest and pulling out the sheep's heart. That was a good effect. That really was.
Yeah, effects wise, I kind of saw it as like this weird, like surprising blend of like the monster that I've got on screen there reminds me of like 1950s American horror.
Yeah.
But then the gore was like your up to date 70s Giallo latex and putty bodies torn apart. Like,
was it?
So it's quite an interesting combo.
Yeah, like films. Was it the creature from the Black Lagoon? Was it? I think.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
That
The
was the
original
vibe I got.
thing.
That was
Was it Brain from Morbius? What's the name of that thing?
Oh God.
That kind of creature feature where it's you know, actor in a bodysuit. But yeah, Creature from the Black Lagoon, great example.
Yeah. So yeah, I did appreciate it for that. It's nice. Just such a weird story.
Really weird story. I mean, straightforward, kind of. You've got a monster, needs to claim 7 hearts, goes for that, ultimately is defeated. But just everything about this was the vibe of it. The very confusing dubbed vibe. It's all very, very special. And selling it as a tragic thing. I don't know. There's something deeper in it. There's something deeper that the monstrous side of her was defeated by the Chad Hunter, and then she will, because of that, she'll wait for him in Valhalla. There's something deeper in that, guys.
Again, I felt like I missed this. But what was the fatal blow for her? Because obviously, I know that when she
getting
back
stabbed
into
twice in the heart with
she was that
active dagger.
It was with that. Okay. Yeah, I almost felt like I missed it.
He stabs her twice. She runs off and then falls down in the swamp.
Yeah,
it looked weird to me. With like from the edit, it looked like he'd stabbed her in the side. I didn't get the vibe that he'd stabbed her in the heart, because we just got those close-ups of the knife going in.
Yeah.
It was an odd one, guys. It was an odd one. I was mostly confused, if I'm being honest. I was just mostly very, very confused by all the choices in this.
Well, the anachronisms got to me. Just the torches and pitchforks, and then interspersed with modern boarding school and the bad makeup on the professor. Oh, I saw those hair pieces. I watched it in 720p, and just the beard just bugged me every time he was on screen.
I'll get him back for you if you want.
But
there are weird things, but I come away charming. Like, I think of a lot of the stuff of this era, it doesn't aim to massively scare you, and it comes off just, I don't know. Yeah, not aiming to scare you. It's dabbling in the horrific, but it's not aiming to truly scare you.
Yeah.
And this had that vibe, and it just ended up a bit charming. That's what I'm going to go for.
Right,
charming, but also absolutely, I don't know, sedated.
Chat, a little game for you to play with the screenshot that's up at the moment. Let's do a caption this competition. I'll start. Sorry, sir, I can't refund you for those. I can't refund you for that bucket of chicken. You've eaten them all.
What is the 11th herb and or spice? I must know.
Are your chickens all free range?
Oh, bless.
Oh, God.
I'm having such chicken trouble at the moment, guys.
God bless.
Well, let's see.
It's the same too. They keep hopping over the fence into the nice part of the garden. It's the same too. I can't even be mad at them. They're too cute.
Do you have a shot of her riding off on the glowing horse?
I do not have her on the horse, I'm afraid.
That's another thing.
Again, it's work with the budget you've got. You know, just put her as in the negative for the spirit. That'll do the job.
Yeah. What does the afterlife look like?
We'll see. Oh dear. Terrible, TCG, terrible. John Gross's point here, he got the sense or impression that she actually won. Like he'd be obsessed with her until the day she died, then she'd have him. Well, I do wonder. She is a siren.
So I guess
he was regretful that he had to kill her. You know, he was regretful. Oh, I pressed the wrong thing. There we go. He's not happy to have killed her, and I think he did see her point. She got to actually make the strong argument that she was doing what she had to do, and it's not right to call her evil. You know.
Yeah. I suppose the vegan lifestyle wasn't as big then as it is now.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no tofu hearts.
See now, if this was filmed today, he could have whipped out his phone and said, "Look, you have a choice. You can either keep eating the hearts, or you can take the advice of this YouTuber, Vegan Gains."
And thanks to modern conveniences, if you need it, an Albanian on a small motorbike will deliver you a small tofu heart at 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Uber deliver underwater now, didn't you know?
Oh dear. Scuba Eats.
Scuba Eats, yes!
Oh dear. Terrible. This was a special film. I don't know. Do you guys have more on it? We are within 9 minutes of incurring Super Nanny's wrath.
I don't, other than to say that this was just a mentally weird film story-wise. There were certain things I appreciated about it, though. Like I've said, like the effects. Again, for a low-budget film, it was all right. It was all right. It wasn't bad.
Well with the blood.
Yeah, that's what. I mentioned that earlier. Like the blood was quite cool, even though, as I say, you know, this sort of time, it could look very, very silly. It didn't do that. I think the film tries to distract its poor story with a lot of half-naked ladies and a lot of swimming pools.
I didn't mind that.
I'd be lying if I said I did.
With this card. Maybe showed me that he's a hunter with many years' experience. Then for sure he's going to be ancient.
Goddamn.
We need a watchman, not a boyfriend. Some boyfriends know how to watch too.
I did catch them reusing one effect from that wonderful gore, you know. The heart tearing out. I saw them reuse that effect. You cheaters.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I think it was all right. It was fun. It was fun. Trying to make sense of it, perhaps, was the most fun thing about it for me.
You got to experience something from a very different world.
Exactly.
Like, this is not the run of the mill horror film. This is not something would have normally come across, but John Garth somehow found. John, we were wondering how you found it. I'd sort of got a bet that you saw it maybe on the Shout Factory collection, because I like to look at their stuff, and I think I got a note that they had released it in a double bill with something called Night of the Sorcerers. Because I keep an eye on Shout Factory because they make some of the best collections out there, like their version of what's it called? Darn it, I immediately forgot it. Candyman is one, but I was thinking of another. There we go. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They did an amazing one. But they also do a lot of sort of lower end stuff, sort of this kind of forgotten to the mists of time stuff. And I was wondering if you had seen it there. So Maybe you can let us know. Patrick Batman, thank you for £5. Very much appreciated. Recommendation Divinity from 2020. I have not heard of this. Scott Bakula, Stephen Dorff, and Giga Chad mean himself, Mike O'Hearn, a pronatalist body horror. I have not heard of that, but let me get it in the list. I've got a few others people have recommended. Suitable Flesh and The Resurrected. I've still got in my list. I watched, was it No One Lives? I didn't even realise that was one of the WWE Studios ones.
Oh, okay. Which one was that?
That explains a lot. I think it's called No One Lives. It's got Luke Evans in it. It's like 81 minutes long. It's incredibly lean.
Oh, okay.
And it was directed by the same guy who did Midnight Meat Train. I wouldn't say it's high quality, but it moves very quickly. There we go. John Gar saying he was looking for an upload of Tombs of the Blind Dead. Well, there we go. That was the one that Amando de Ossario made his name on. Yeah. Patrick Ratman, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. We've also had a question. Did we watch the trailer for Late Night with the Devil? We did. We watched it after last week's stream. I'm intrigued.
Oh,
that looks classic.
Oh yeah. That looks really interesting.
I think we might be able to. That could be a sort of end of the month one if we slip it in.
I think we should.
See how we do.
Phrasing. I think we. Yeah, I think we should cover that.
Bit of that. We like to mix it up, as you see from this episode. We have quite a range on this channel. But guys, if you didn't have any more thoughts, are you okay to move into the closing thoughts and scores for Grasp of the Lorelei?
Heck yes. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much said all I needed to say a few moments ago about it. Lots and lots of half-naked ladies, which of course, as a red-blooded male, you can't knock that. Special effects for the budget, yeah, cool. Yeah, it works. It produces the ick and sort of like that visceral reaction that I would expect to have. But the story, man, the story is just wild. I mean, I spent more time laughing than I actually did sort of paying attention, because every time I'd compose myself to get back to it, some other wild was happening. If it weren't introductions, if it weren't our first introductions, it was random running away, like flapping about. It was the world's worst hunter, just appearing out of nowhere from behind trees, like some weird peekaboo game, like scuba diving without any scuba diving like equipment other than the tank for no reason, because they just wanted to throw a time bomb anyway in the lake. It was just bloody weird, man. Bloody weird, and I can't let that slide. That being said, I'd recommend it just for you guys to, if you haven't watched it already, I'd recommend it just so that you could experience the same levels of confusion and arousal. So,
what's that gift that I've got the weirdest boner right now? That meme. Perfect example for this.
But, yeah, I bollocks to it. I'm going to give it a 6 just because it's that bloody weird. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't categorize it in the so bad it's good sort of camp. I would. I think I'd have to put it in its own category. It's so weird. It defies logic. I don't know. I literally cannot explain how I feel about this film, even 48 hours after watching it. I cannot explain it.
No, fair enough. Confusion is right, but
so
if you've got a few people around, got some beers in them, showed them this with no warning, probably be an interesting night.
Yeah.
How about you, Murgoot?
Goofy film. As I said in DMs before, I've seen high school plays acted better, but I had a lot of fun, a lot of fan service. Oh yes. I had an easier time following the film than TCG, but the anachronisms and that god awful time bomb stymied me. But I give it 5 with 12 rounds of cheese added on the top and some spicy pickles.
All the cheese.
The cheese.
Oh, fair play. All right, we're getting a 6. We're getting a 5. I'm seeing another 6, 7. I'm torn. I think I land on a 6. I would not exactly recommend this to anyone unless, gosh, I'd recommend this to people if they wanted to see something a bit unusual. If they liked a kind of 1950s sci-fi that was a little goofy, I'd suggest have a go at this. What's really nice, even though it's extreme gore, it's not malicious, it's not sadistic. It's just kind of weird and cozy, and harmless, and baffling, and just there's a lot of Austin Powers vibes in it that are just really interesting. It's not too long, so good for it. It gets in, makes its point. That's fun. By the way, that I saw the reference to Mike O'Hearn being Giga Chad. He absolutely is. That Giga Chad on screen is Mike O'Hearn. There we go. I just thought you'd appreciate that. So, waifu asking the important question: is it better than Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Much.
Yes. Yes.
And
It doesn't induce a kind of confused despair.
Much better than the Washingtonians, which I gave a 0 to.
Our first 0, and extremely well deserved. If you want to catch that, folks, that is in our Masters of Horror episode. We've got a late one from Mima here. 5 salmon burgers with 3 orders of mozzarella sticks and enough ketchup to fill a swimming pool. Absolutely loads of ketchup with this one, and cheesy as heck. But I've got to note that in my order, absolutely stupendous baps.
Amazing.
Oh, goodness. Well, that was very special, folks. We do like to do member requests, so we're very happy to do that. I think John is not a member, but he's a generous donor, and we're very happy to do that. So cheers. We've got a couple more member requests that we need to do. But if you would like to join the channel as a member, we will be happy to oblige. And as I've said, this is a very good month to join as a member. Now, we have talked for a very long time about Vincent Price. We've talked about The Grasp of the Lorelei, also known as The Swinging Monster, also known as When Screaming Stops. And now the only thing left to do is give you your horror homework. Oh, slightly on the wrong side of Super Nanny here after 2.5 hours. Oops. But for the rest of March, we are covering John Carpenter films. And I took a bit of a swerve decision. We were going to do something else, but I had a couple of really good guests that had wanted to do John Carpenter stuff. And I thought, you know what? Gosh darn it. We're just going to go ahead. So next week, we're going to be covering They Live. So your horror homework is John Carpenter's They Live. And the ones lined up are They Live, Christine, and Prince of Darkness. So get those in. We're being rejoined by a good friend of the channel, Scrump, who also covered John Carpenter's The Thing. And he's back with us next week. We'll be talking about that, maybe looking at a bit more Vincent Price, but hopefully this time I'll get it in under half an hour. Who knows? Anyway, You've got your horror homework. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you to everyone watching live. Thank you everyone on the replay. Gosh, long stream, struggling with my words. And thank you, of course, TCG and Murgoot.
Pleasure as always.
I'm so glad you went for this. The whole "what am I watching" responses in chat were fantastic. All right. Thanks ever so much, guys. End the stream. I hope you have fantastic weekends. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.